All right, y'all. Shalom, shalom. Salaki, I know we on here a little late tonight, but hey, through the spirit, try to keep things decent, get things done decently and in order. Um, and I just want to say all praises. Want to start off by giving all praises, glory, and honor be to the Most High God by way of His only begotten, right? And we coming at you with another man. Think about it Thursday. Salakia, Shalom, King, Shalom. Salakia, I know we didn't get on here yesterday like we were supposed to, but through the spirit, man, we're gonna do our best to make sure that hey, we're fervent with coming on and staying committed to bringing you these videos each and every week for edification purposes. But um I'm Brother Yeshaya, man, and today's topic is the truth about the truth, or the truth concerning the truth, better yet, as I would say. So I was gonna label this different. I was gonna label this like demons in the truth. I was gonna label this a bunch of different things, but I just want to talk about the truth concerning the truth. It's not more so of a breakdown. This is more so of a a constant reminder to ourselves um about living in the truth, right? So without further ado, man, we're gonna get right into scripture. Let me go to the classic. Let me get the. Oh, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. So like it. Y'all know I'm going to the classic. Let me share my screen. Window. Okay, here we go. Share. So like it. All right, so sharing my screen, man. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get right into this thing. Like I said, today's topic is the truth concerning the truth. Think about it Thursday to give us all something to think about, constant reminder when we're living in this truth. And I want to use scripture to speak the words that I might have a hard time of bringing out. I would guess fluently, right? But this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, and verse number 1, and it reads, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble, right? So, disclaimer, right? I want to let people know that um when you first come into this truth, man, I think everybody gets this type of fire and this type of zeal, and everybody just gets excited, right? We all get excited. We all think, and let's be completely honest, right? I wanna I want to I want to read something else too, right? Because I want to attack 2 points while I'm attacking 1 point, right? I want to attack 2 points at one time, kill two birds with one stone, right? This is the book of Revelation, chapter 14. Matter of fact, Revelation chapter 22. Is that 21 and 12 or 22 and 12? So Salakia, I'm trying to attack 2 points. Nah, it's Revelation 20:22. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. 22 and 12, right? All right, so I want to read something real quick, right? We're going to go back to the book of Ecclesiasticus to make these points because I think this is important, right? The topic, like I said, is the truth concerning the truth. So we got to go two ways with this, right? This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, and verse number 1 again. And it says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation," right? So let's stop there, right? So, like I said, I was elaborating earlier. A lot of times we come into the truth, we get a fire, we get a zeal, right? And we think that, hey, look, this is going to be a piece of cake, right? But at the same time, you got to understand, look, what does it say? "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord," what does it say? "Prepare thy soul for no more temptation ever again, because you're in the truth." It doesn't say that. It doesn't say, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, you will never have to go through anything hard in your life ever again." It doesn't say that either. You know what it says? It says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." Hey, when you come into this truth, This is one of the first things that I like to read people, right? We have to understand that when we first come into the knowledge of who we are, who God's chosen people are, right? We have to understand that, guess what? There is going to be a lot of temptation, right? There's going to be a lot of temptation. Spiritually, man, hey, look, this going back to the book of Luke, I might need to pull up another King James Bible tab, right? I'm gonna pull up another King James Bible tab, and we're gonna go to the book of Luke real quick, right? Go to the book of Luke, chapter 15, and do verse number 10. Shalom, brother Azrael, right? So let me go to the book of Luke, chapter 15, and verse 10, real quick. And this reads, likewise, I say unto you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God, right? I'm reading as written, over one sinner that repenteth, right? So the reason there's so much joy, man, is because now it's like the prodigal son, which you'll start reading from Luke 15:11 through verse 32, which is the end of the chapter, right? Now you're starting to understand that you've come back home. The Most High is ready to embrace you, right? But guess what, man? That journey on the way to the Father is a hard journey, right? Even once after he's embraced you, you got to think about it like this. It's a hard journey, which is why it reads, if you come to serve the Lord, prepare your soul for temptation. This does not say prepare your soul for the kingdom, because now you don't have to go through anything anymore ever in your life again, right? A lot of times in Christianity, man, when I was growing up in the church, a lot of the deception they like to tell us is, hey, look, the only way we can lose our salvation is if we stop believing. But guess what? I'm here to argue that we never had salvation, right? I'm not here to argue to saying that there is no salvation. What I'm arguing is that the scriptures contradict what the viewpoint of Christianity was saying, right? A lot of times people become Christians. They say, oh, I believe in Jesus. I confess. I baptize, right? They go to Romans 10 and 17 or Romans 10 and 9, whichever one that is. If you confess with your mouth and stuff like that. And they read that, and all of a sudden now it's just like, okay, all your battles are won. Jesus paid the cost. You're free. You're free from sin everlasting. You're free from temptation. Jesus took it all, right? And that's the end of it. All you got to do is just wait until the day of the Lord, and then boom, you caught up in the rapture. That's what the notion is, but that's not the truth. The truth is, hey, look, when you come into this thing, prepare your soul for temptation, right? What does it tell you to do after that? Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Now, if everything was such a smooth cakewalk in this life, why is it saying constantly endure? What are we constantly enduring? What are we going through that is telling us to not make haste in the time of trouble, right? Why is verse number 3 saying, cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end, right? Why is um Sirach chapter 2 and verse number 4 saying, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. Why is these things being written, right? What is verse 5? For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity, right? It says, believe in him, he will help thee. Order thy way aright and trust in him, right? What does this mean? Why is it saying all these things? What is what is it that we're going to go through in order for us to be able to get the kingdom? Trials and tribulations, right? Which is why verse number 5 is important. It says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity, right? And this truth, you're going to get into this truth. And a lot of us, like I said, when we first came in, we had a fire, we had a zeal. Then over time, your fire starts kind of dwindling. Sometimes you might need to add more wood to the fire. Sometimes you might need to add more liquid to the fire. Things of that nature. If you ever went camping, you would understand the analogy that I'm using, right? But either way it goes, man, your fire starts to kind of like fade, do all these different type of things. And at the end of the day, it's important to understand that coming into this truth, we're going to go through things that are going to challenge us to make us stronger, right? Why? Why is that important? Let's read something. Let's go to the book of Matthew. Is that 24? And I want to say 13. Matthew 24 and 13. And it says right here, matter of fact, let's start at 12. And it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Right? This is why it's important to understand certain things that are being spoken about in the text, man, because we got to know that, first of all, first and foremost, nobody is saved, regardless if you believe on the Father or not. You're not saved until you endure unto the end. At that day, we'll find out who is saved, who's a part of the elect, who's a 1/3, who's a 144, who are God's chosen people are that's going to be redeemed in that day. Nobody's saved right now. Salakia, go ahead.
Shalom. Uh, you come into the truth and you are informed that it's not just one thing, like you're saying, that deems you saved. It's a list of things. You hear a lot of people stop at, if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord, you shall be saved. But you got to understand and have reading comprehension skills to understand that shall, right, doesn't mean that's the only thing. It just means that, shall meaning is to come. Doesn't mean that you're already saved either, right? But there's a list. You're going to always see, if you do this, you shall be saved. If you do this, you will be saved. If you do this, it's a list of things, right? One
Right.
doesn't cancel the other out. You need all of it. It's requirements. Like when you're finna graduate, did you pass this class? If you pass science, you shall graduate. If you pass math, you shall graduate, right? You need a list of things to be able to graduate. Just like when you're reading this text, there's a list of things that you got to do for you to graduate, for you to be saved, to have salvation. Salvation is just not believing and confessing. It's that, but it's also more.
Right. Salvation is a lot more than saying I believe. You know what I'm saying? It ain't Polar Express in the movie where the little boy didn't believe in Santa Claus, right? So he had to ring the bell, and he's just like, he couldn't hear it. Well, then he's had to say, I believe, and he had to believe it in his heart. Then Santa Claus came unto him. That's not how the Most High operates. Shalom to the brother Donald.
Shalom, yo, Bashem, yo, Sabarakatam.
Khan, yeah, but we just going over, man, the truth concerning the truth, right? Because we got to get some understanding about the lifestyle that we live as people who believe in the word a lot differently than a lot of people who live in the world, right? We got to look at it from our perspective, being on the inside out, right? See, on the outside in, people like to condemn us for being self-righteous. They like to condemn us for being Pharisees. They like to condemn us for a lot of things, thinking that we're better than the next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on the inside out, you will see how much deeper it is than that. Even on the inside, there's condemnation. And even on the inside, there's temptation. Even on the inside, there's spiritual warfare. So nobody goes around professing to be like, oh, I'm this high and mighty person. And, well, hold on. I will speak for myself, and I would probably speak for the brothers that are on the screen with me, right? We don't profess ourselves to be these super high and mighty people and act like we got all the answers, Sway, and act like we're perfect and just act like nothing happens to us just because we believe in the Bible a lot differently than a lot of other people do. We don't go around and act like that. You have some people who may say they know the truth and may say they're in the truth who may act like that. You know what I'm saying? But this is why we're talking about the truth concerning the truth. The first point I want to address and get out of everybody's head is this ideology that when you come into the truth, it's sweet, right? That's why the first precept we read was the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 2, and verse number 1 through verse number 7, right? Because it's important to understand, to know that when you come into this life, when you come into this way of thinking, this way of living, it's not that much. I would say this. I want to be wise with my words, or witty with my words. I don't want to offend nobody when I say this. It's not better, but it's better. It's actually kind of harder. It's a lot harder than it is easier. I would say that, right? It's a righteous type of hard, right? It's not hard as in, man, it's like somebody stabbing you constantly 24/7. That's a different type of pain. The type of pain we experience is just like if you working out and you on your last set and your last rep and you giving it all you got and you trying to get that bench up, you trying to get that weight up. That's the type of pain we experience, man. Constant pain of growth and development, right? The growing pains of this truth. It's a lot of them. And you got to learn them. And a lot of people learn them in different ways. And it hits a lot of people and a lot of bodies a lot differently. You know what I'm saying? We got to understand that we got to get out this ideology that us being in the truth just means that everything is perfect, right? That is a false, that is a fallacy, that is a lie, right?
It's actually the opposite.
It's really the opposite.
Like when we was talking to that one lady on the street, and she was telling us that she knows that God's operating in her life because she just keeps getting blessed, right? We had to kind of tell her like the men in the Bible weren't. We wouldn't classify the men in the Bible as blessed. Christianity, you're gonna say they're blessed, but if we look at their life and how they were living, they was living homeless. They was living, check to check. They was living in prison, lion's den, furnace. They wasn't living lives. Even in Genesis, I had pulled it up here right here, but I'll just paraphrase it. Genesis 47:9, Jacob, one of the founding fathers, when asked how his pilgrimage is his life because he was on his deathbed, right? When asked how his pilgrimage was, he said, "My days have been few and evil." So a lot of times when we come into this truth, we think that, God's going to be on our side and everything's going to be roses from here on out and he's going to protect us and guide us. No, like the brother Yeshaya is saying, prepare your heart, take it cheerfully and long suffer, right? You're going to have relationship problems. You're going to have monetary problems. You're going to have emergencies come up, right? You're going to have sicknesses. You read that New Testament, when Paul was writing these letters, I wish I could send so-and-so, but he's sick unto death. I wish I could send so-and-so, but he's not doing well. I wish I could send, you know what I'm saying? The men in the Bible that was doing the work, they didn't have good lives. They were always long suffering because you got to understand this is not our rest. That's why we look towards salvation. We don't have rest right now. And it wasn't promised for us to have rest right now. We're supposed to be working and just making it through, enduring to the end.
Right. Because you got to understand, like, that's why I say we got to address something. It's not sweet in this truth, man. Regardless of, like the brother said, he went into all the points that I was going to touch on. Relationship, finances, you know what I'm saying? The lifestyle that we live, it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy. It's easy to make it look like it's easy. It's easy to make it look good. It can look good, but after the end of the day, everything ain't good. You know what I'm saying? It ain't always peaches and cream. It ain't always sunshine and rainbows. It ain't always laughs and giggles, man. It's some stressful times living this life. And it's not to say I think y'all should reconsider, saying that you are Israelite or wanting to follow the Most High God. No, I'm saying that when you come into a different type of knowledge and a different type of way of living, according to thus saith the Most High, you got to understand that it's going to require a lot of expectation for you to unlearn a lot of the things that you've been learning for however long you've been on this earth. And that's a lot harder to do. It's a lot easier said than done, right? You got something?
I was just going to say real quick, stop comparing yourselves to other Israelites in the truth too. Thinking that somebody's marriage is what it is and thinking that somebody else's job is what it is. Everybody's going through struggles, man. In this truth, if you sincerely in this truth, everybody, it don't even matter if you're a leader, if you just a congregant, right? Everybody's going through something. And like the brother Yeshaya just said, don't have that Instagram approach thinking everything is roses with everybody. Everybody's going through something in this truth. The Most High is going to make sure of it because he got to try your heart.
Right. Hey, look, for gold is tried in the fire and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Anything worth having is, hey, you got to work hard for it. You know what I'm saying? If you can just get it easy, you won't feel as accomplished as you would if you worked hard for it. Like I'm in the, I miss today, but I go to the gym, you know what I'm saying, with these brothers. My goal is to get smaller, you know what I'm saying? For more than just reasons to look good, man. I want to feel good. I want to be healthy, you know what I'm saying? I want to change my stature, right? I
Strong
go
body,
to the
better than gold.
right. Hey, look, I go to the gym to attain a physical goal. I would feel a lot better about getting smaller if I go to the gym and see the results over time and go through that pain and affliction than to have maybe like a gastric bypass. You know what I'm saying? And no disrespect to anybody who had that surgery. If you if that was the only thing that you felt like that was best for you, then hey, look, you had to do what you had to do. But either way it go, my thing is I don't want that route. I don't want to take that route. That route is not for me. I wouldn't want to have surgery in order to for me to lose weight. You know what I'm saying? If the Most High gave me the ability to move my limbs, have the activity of my limbs, you know what I'm saying? Then I want to be able to use what the Most High gave me to help get the results that I want physically, right? It feels much better when you work that hard for it. The same thing in the truth, which is why it says right here, prepare your soul for temptation. It ain't too much scripture that we need to go to. I can just really close the book right here and Christian church it up for the rest of the time that you know what I'm saying we on here through the spirit. Because at the end of the day, it's just an instant cut to people who think that you come into this knowledge and the life is just better. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have a hard time of not saying I don't have a hard time of showing my brothers and sisters who live in the world where they might be going off. I don't have a hard time doing that. But it's hard for me to just look my nose down upon them and shake my head as if I'm the most high. Why? Because I know how it was when I was in the world, and I know how it is now that I'm in the truth. You know what I'm saying? And the line of separation is a lot closer than what most people may think. It's a big spiritual difference, right? But physical difference is not that much. Why? Because still in the land of our captives. Because it's a lot of different factors that hinder our ability to truly be the nation of people that the Most High God called us to be on this side of the world. Go ahead, brother.
Oh no, I was just
Oh,
taking my camera off.
oh, kind.
But that's a mighty point though, just to touch on it a little bit. This truth isn't like everything else that's in the world, you know. And when I say that, it's because like it's not like joining the basketball team. You finally made the basketball teams and get all the girls and all the praise and all of that. It's not like joining a football team, man. Right? It's not like joining a fraternity or sorority. Oh, I'm about to get all the girls and I get to wear these boots and I'm gonna be, a celebrity, a class C celebrity. Where you get all this praise and you're glorified. That's not what happens when you come into this truth. When you come into this truth, right? You're really gonna get treated worse than you did when you was in the world, right? Life gonna get harder than it hit you when you was in the world, right? It's not a bunch of peaches and daisies, right? And so don't come in thinking, oh, I'm finally in the truth. I know what God has for me. It's gonna be a cakewalk. I'm gonna get my husband, and he's gonna be everything I want him to be, right? I'm gonna get my wife, and she's gonna be everything I want her to be, right? We're gonna have kids, and he's gonna live happily ever after, right? It's not how it's gonna work when you come into this truth. Every aspect of life, when you come into this truth, will require work and hard work at that.
Right. Hard work. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm gonna pull something up real quick, right? Because there's plenty of like I just want to go to the ones that I routinely go through, but there's plenty of verses in this book that you can go to prove what everything that we're saying to be true, right? This is the book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the most high, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service, right? The part I want to focus on is present your bodies a what? A living sacrifice. A living sacrifice, which basically is saying that, look, your body is going to go through some things, right? It's not easy. Like we say, it's not easy, man. You don't you don't come into this life. I don't know what the expectation is, and I think that's why a lot of people may fall out the truth. And I think that's why, even including myself, man, a lot of people in this truth, sometimes we get super down on ourselves, send ourselves into a spiritual depression, right? Because when you come into this truth, you set the expectation so high when you first come in. As you start to mature and develop, you realize, hey, this ain't that. Now all of a sudden it's like you trying to live up to those expectations you once set, and you having a hard time crawling, clawing, trying to get back to that level of life that you want to have on this side of life. And like we say, It's a different type of pain. This is necessary pain, and this is valuable pain. The pain that you going through in the world, that's unprofitable. This pain is the necessary and profitable pain, but at the same time, either way it goes, it's pain. This is the pain of sacrifice. The pain that you deal with in the world is called the pain of regret, right? This is the pain of sacrifice, but the pain still hurts, and the pain of sacrifice may hurt a lot more. May hurt a lot more,
Kind
especially. Salakia, and before you go, it's just especially when before you started finding out the truth and before you started wanting to live the truth, it was so easy for you to just cure the pain. Every pain you was going through in the world, you could just cure it by any means, right? Because you didn't know no better. Now that you got a set of laws, statutes, and commandments that you got to live by to keep you on your toes, guess what? Now it becomes a lot harder. But go ahead, King Salakia.
No, I was just gonna say, we live in coming into the truth, we live in a much harder suffering, right? But we're much stronger people, right? In the world, when we went through things, we were quick to slip into depressions, quick to get insecurities because we were suffering for vain reasons, right? You were suffering because of things that you wanted. Now that when we suffer, we know that we're suffering because I gotta keep the Sabbath, so I can't take that job. Oh, I gotta be a man and do this is a part of my role, so I gotta suck it up and do it. Oh, I gotta be a Proverbs 31 woman, so I gotta suck it up and do it. Oh, we have roles to play now, and now that we know that we're doing these roles for the Most High, right, for Christ, because He died for us, so we live for Him. Now we're stronger people when we suffer, and we don't need to go get counsel. We don't need to have therapists because we know why we're suffering, and we're okay with it. We're okay because we know that we're gonna get our rest sooner or later. And I just want to say that. So even though we're suffering more, but we're stronger for it, right? And we're not as easily torn down.
Right. Hey, look, we've been given strength, man, through the Most High. We've been given strength to endure these things, right? What is the book of First John chapter 5? It's the classic, you know what I'm saying? Another classic scripture that we like to go to because it just speaks volumes, right? It says like this: For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, right? Hey, we know that keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, while we say it's hard, this is why the brothers say, hey, look, we're stronger because the Most High says it's not grievous. Once you learn how to discipline yourself into doing something, after over time, it just becomes it's second nature, right? It's natural, which is why there's a lot of confusion in Galatians, Ephesians, Colossians, Romans about keeping the law of the Most High, right? That's why people confuse it to think that you don't have to keep the law because it says you're led by the Spirit, right? And you're no longer under the law. That's not basically what it's saying. Like we like to sum it up to say that the law is so embedded in you, you just perform it naturally. It's not something that you have to go read and make sure that you're following down to a T. It's like getting a class schedule. Like when you was in high school, well, I can speak for myself. When I was in high school at Helps About High School, man, they used to give us class schedules at the beginning of the school year. I would have to learn which classes I got at which periods, right? And I keep my class schedule on me for about, a week. However long it took me to get down that routine, okay, I'm in first period here, second period here. This is my homeroom teacher. This is what I got third period, fourth period here. This is where I'm at fifth period. I know what lunch I got, sixth period, seventh period, so on. After a while, I threw away that class schedule, and I'm just walking to my classes willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of them type of things, right? That's why we're strong, because at the end of the day, man, the Most High gave us what? A spirit of discipline to be able to handle these things that he puts on us, right?
And also, it says from comfort and hope in the scriptures, man. So coming into this truth, even though we get more sufferings, he gives us multiple reasons to be okay with it, right? Promises, promises and what's the other word I'm looking for? Promises, blessings. But even like Romans 8 and 28, man, we know that all things work for the good of them that are called. If you know that you're called, it doesn't matter what you're going through. It's gonna work out. You just gotta trust that it's gonna work out. Don't panic and be anxious. Understand that it's gonna work out according to whose purpose? Like it said right here. It says, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Right? So if you're going through a hard time, just know that it's a part of God's purpose. Not
Right.
just for your life, but for the big picture.
Kind. Hey, look, but like I said, that's a mighty point too, because it's just like we gotta understand, man. The Most High, like we read in I forget, is that in Corinthians where it talks about a way to escape? What is that? First Corinthians 13. No temptation that taking you such as is common to man,
I think so.
or something like that. But what I was trying to say is basically summing up what I'm saying is pretty much that. Look, if you sit up here and you be sold out for the Most High, hey, things will come together, right? Things will come together. It may not happen when you want it to, but hey, it'll happen when the Father says, okay, this is time for it to happen, right? But the reason that we're going over this, man, is because we got to understand, like we said, there's a two-way street to this. There's a hard street to this, right? Of saying, look, we're gonna go through some things, but there's also a street saying, look, we're gonna be rewarded for some things, right? Revelation 22 and 14, and it says, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city, right? But for without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie, right? So we have a reward for doing the right thing, man. That's why I said this is a different type of pain. Ain't no reward from getting stabbed over and over and over again. But there is a reward, and when you run in sprints and you feel like you can't do another one, to run one more. There's a reward in that. But what's the reward in stabbing yourself over and over and over again? No reward for that, right? It's a two-way street to this type of pain that we're talking about and we're experiencing, right? There's, like we said, there's relationship problems when you come into the truth. Everybody has their idea of righteousness they want to uphold. Men are striving to be mighty men, spoken about in times of old. Women are saying they want to be Proverbs 31 women. All of our people are having a hard time of just learning how to find the balance within the word and the life that we live in, right? A lot of people are finding a hard time trying to find that balance.
And
I'm
Con,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, the title of this, "The Truth Concerning the Truth," is something that, man, anybody coming into the truth needs to understand. Because I could give a testimony about me, man. When I first came into the truth, when I first saw camps and like the YouTube scene and everything, man, I wanted to be the mightiest camp. In my life, I've always kind of I wanted to be a leader all my life. So when I first came into truth, I'm like, man, I could see me doing that. I could see me, recording and speaking boldly, having a group of guys behind me, and you know, and you get wrapped up in trying to be like men and women that you see on TV, on YouTube. But you got to understand the truth concerning the truth. You'll be let down that way once you get around certain people and you see how they move, and you see that, oh, they're just normal people, and you understand that they have faults too. Hey, a lot of us have been taken out of the truth because of that realization. So coming into this truth, you got to understand every man is accountable for their own actions. You can't just follow somebody and think you're gonna make. This is not Christianity. You can't follow a pastor, right? You can't follow somebody that seems mighty. The truth concerning the truth is, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Let the Spirit lead you and guide you and teach you in all things. Don't let man do that, right? The truth concerning the truth is, it's not going to be easy. You're not going to be famous. You should not want to be famous, even inside the truth. But you're bringing the best way you know how. Stay humble, meek, and lowly, right? And study to show yourself approved. A lot of people get in this thing and they think the truth is having fringes. and going to every holy day and taking pictures during camp, trying to show that you're the mightiest or you're the most loveliest woman, the mightiest man. But that's not the truth. The truth is your actual being has to be a new creature, man. You gotta be different from how you was in the world. Your insecurities can't come out and make you into something that you're not supposed to be.
Right. You got to understand, like, this is important. Philippians 2 and 12, right? When he said it, work out your own self. It's important to know, because the truth concerning the truth is, can nobody bear your sins for you? You're going to be responsible for the work that you put in, right? You're going to be responsible for the work that you put in, right? So you need to understand that ain't no other man finna bear your iniquity for you. Ain't no other sister out here finna bear your iniquity for you. You got to answer for you. He got to answer for him. I got to answer for me. You know what I'm saying? This is the truth concerning the truth. We got to deal away with the false analogies and the false ideologies that living in this lifestyle means that everybody's 100% clean. If we learn how to do what was written in, let me pull this up, right? Because I want to pull this up too. Matter of fact, let me just go to it here. Well, I guess it didn't matter, but let me go to it here. But if we learn how to do what was written in James 5, I want to say, what is that, 16? Confess our faults to one another. If we learn how to have more Salakia, have to have more authenticity, or if I'm even saying that right, right? If we learn how to be more authentic, right? More transparent with one another in the truth, we would understand that, hey, look, we have a greater chance of making it than we do of not making it, right? Because now, like the brother said, everybody's trying to uphold some standard of righteousness. Everybody's trying to uphold some standard of living according to this truth, and it's causing everybody to just kind of like compete in an unrighteous manner. People are competing, which is why it leads to iniquity on top of iniquity, right? This camp trying to be the mightiest camp. This camp trying to be the mightiest camp. This camp say they got the 100% truth. This camp say they got the 100% truth. Everybody's in competition with one another when we should be learning how to build each other up.
Like we were saying last camp, nobody is learning how to be a edifying teacher no more. Everybody's learning a doctrine, right? You learn a doctrine first. Everybody, when you first come into truth, you learn a doctrine. I don't care. When you first come into truth, you listening to somebody and you learning their doctrine, and you think that doctrine is gold. And like we said last camp, a lot of brothers, man, you'll start teaching somebody, and if they don't understand it, because you were able to understand it that way. And if they don't understand it, well, I don't know what to tell you, brother. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's just not for you. No, maybe you just need to learn how to edify, brother. Maybe you need to get in your bag a little bit and be witty with your words like Solomon. Maybe you need to understand the scriptures in a better way to where you can relay it better instead of just regurgitating what you learn. Because concerning the truth, there's more than what you just see. A lot of brothers don't read. A lot of brothers just watch videos every day, and they don't read. They learn the basic precepts, and that's it. That's not in the truth. You're not in the truth.
Right. It's just like you can't sit up here and down the hill of a doctrine of man. You know what I'm saying? And you got a lot of brothers like that, unfortunately. And it's kind of sad, honestly, because it's just like there's nowhere in the world that you can read the scriptures and then not put two and two together. But because somebody else said it and they broke it down this way, oh, that means it's right and you wrong. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense. So that's why it's important to know that, hey, look, the truth concerning the truth. One thing is that it's not perfect on this side. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody now. I can't, like I said, I can speak for myself mainly because that's who's speaking. Me, I'm speaking for myself when I say this. It's not been a day that goes by that I just think that I just love being in the truth. Nah, it's one of them moments like I'm sitting down sweating and I'm just like, man, dang, this truth is tough. I have more moments like that than I do just wake up smiling, you know what I'm saying, living that social media life. I have more days when I'm just sitting up just like angry, frustrated, because I'm living in a world where the world tells me I can have anything I want. And I've been conditioned to believe that for 20 years. Now, in a short amount of time, I'm trying to redo my whole life and redo my whole style of thinking, right? And changing my ways to be pleasant unto the Most High's will. It's a lot harder. It's easier said than done. Even when we on the streets, we be telling people all the time, "Hey, stop that right now." We bring out the scriptures. Hey, make haste. I made haste and delay not to turn my feet into the path. You know what I'm saying? We bring out those scriptures for a reason to show our people, hey, it's not hard to stop doing something bad. But in the grand scheme of things, some people it just take a little longer. Some people it hits harder than others. You know what I'm saying? And we understand that. We encourage our brothers and sisters to go cold turkey right then and there because honestly, that's the best thing for you to do. If you want to get rid of something, stop it right then and there and then don't think about it ever again. And if you think about it, find the Bible, pick it up, read it. You know what I'm saying? Do something other than what you used to do. We encourage our brothers and sisters to do that. But you'll be surprised how many brothers and sisters are living in this truth, still going through things that they dealt with in the world, and they probably like in year 7 in the truth. But that's just because as I said, that's that temptation, man. You don't stop getting tempted. It doesn't matter if you've been in the truth 25 years. You don't stop getting tempted.
Yeah. And that's why, First Timothy tell us, some of these people are just gonna be ever learning and never coming to the knowledge of the truth. Oh my gosh. That goes perfect with this title, The Truth Concerning the Truth. Some people are gonna be ever learning. You know why? Because they're always gonna think it's a journey. I got time. I'm on a path. Every single person I know that has told me that is still doing the same exact thing that they said it's a journey and a path for. Oh, brother struggling with weed, it's a journey, it's a path. I can't quit cold turkey. I can't. When you start speaking like that, you speaking over your life and you denying the power thereof. And you're gonna be ever learning, never coming to the knowledge of the truth. The truth is that he gave you power through the spirit to get over those things, to conquer your vessel and sanctification and honor, right? And the truth concerning the truth is you got to come to that knowledge of the truth, man, in all aspects.
Right. What is that?
First Timothy 3 and 5.
3 and 5. I was just
God.
maybe I just overread it. So like it.
3 and 5.
Or is it Second Timothy?
It might be 2 Timothy 3 and 5. 2 Timothy 3 and 5. I know it's 3 and 5 though.
Yeah, I was looking for it. I thought it was 3 and 4. Having a form of godliness, but ever learning. Nah, I don't know. Which one is that?
Verse 7. It's verse 7.
Oh, here it goes. Second Timothy 3 and 7. Yeah, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Like, my mind all messed up, right? But look, this is why it's important to understand that we got things such as the fruits of the spirit and the armor of the Most High God, right? Ephesians 6 and 10. You know what I'm saying? Really, if you start there, matter of fact, let me go there real quick because I got James 1. Let me go to Ephesians real quick. Ephesians 6. This is why we.
Real quick before you go there, that ever learning, never coming to the knowledge of the truth. That goes again to brothers and sisters that's not reading for themselves. All you do is just watch videos all the time, street teaching, and somebody else going over the scriptures. Look, the scriptures tell us we need some men to guide us, as the scripture says, but ultimately it's up to you. Look, you call yourself a king. Brother Janal brought it out the other night. You know what I'm saying? Look, Deuteronomy 17. You got to read the book every day of your life. And if you're not doing those things, you're never going to come to the knowledge. You're going to be always learning. You're going to always be that brother like, oh, I didn't know that was in there. Oh, I never heard that story. Oh, I didn't know I could get over this by doing this. You're going to be ever learning, never coming to the knowledge of the truth.
Right. And think about it like this, man. It's so important to know that because it's just like we said, it's the truth concerning the truth. Everybody knows it. Nobody really addresses it. I see videos, you know what I'm saying, in Israel where it talks about this is how you follow out the truth, why you follow out the truth, or don't follow out the truth in the last days, or you finna get sifted out in these last days, things of that nature, right? I very seldomly see that though in a mass scale across the Israelite community. I'm just going to use that as an example to graft in all Israelites. I barely see people go into detail about why it's important publicly. Now, you may do this privately within your household or within inside of your congregation. However, so I'm not saying it's not talked about at all. What I'm saying is publicly, a lot of us just profess to be white robe, clean linen people, in which we are striving to be. But we got to understand that there are things that, as a nation of people, we have to address. And the truth concerning the truth is, even inside of the truth, there are demons. There are people who are spiritually possessed. You know what I'm saying? There are people who go off every day, all day, right? There are people who can't get right. You know what I'm saying? There are people who have spirits on them inside of the truth. It's not perfect, man. We all dealt with it. We all seen it. And you may have not been that person, but you may have known somebody who was that person. Or you may know somebody who you didn't know, but you found out that they were that person, and it would be somebody that you least expect to be that person. You know what I'm saying?
There was a brother came in my DM this week, asking what state we were in so he could congregate, and he was I had to commend him at the end of it. He was telling me about all the camps and congregations he's been in, and his wife and his kids or whatever, and his family. And he was just saying, like, he told me a few of the situations that went on. And he said, yeah, man, we're just trying to find a congregation to congregate with, and trying to be in the right spirit, X, Y, and Z. And I told him, I said, man, I got to commend you and your family, even though I'm not in Atlanta no more. I had to commend you and your family, because a lot of people would have let, like the parable of the sower, the cares of this life choke the word, and they couldn't stay in it. So hey, look, a lot of people would have fell out the truth with some of the stuff that you guys experienced. So I commend y'all for not letting it choke y'all out the truth. And he was just like, yeah, man, pretty much he's standing 10 toes down for the truth, and they're not gonna waver, X, Y, and Z. And that's how we gotta be. If you are not thinking like that coming into the truth, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna last. The first, like Yeshaya said, the first demon you encounter in the truth, you're gonna go back to Christianity. Oh, that's not for me. Oh, Hebrew Israelism? Yeah, I got out of that cult.
Right. Hey, people do not know how to have spiritual integrity, man. They act like we said, and I blame that on a lot of times on the encounters that people have with people who just act like everything's 100% gravy. If we don't start telling the truth to our brothers and sisters who we're trying to live the lifestyle that the Most High says we should live, then we're going to have a lot of brothers and sisters that just going to fall out after a little adversity. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, I don't want to be that person to fall out the truth just because I can't overcome something. You know, I don't want to be that person. Ain't nobody above reproach. You know what I'm saying? We got to remember that. Nobody in this so-called truth is above reproach. And I only say so-called because a lot of people's truth is not the same. And a lot of people's truth doesn't line up with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the brother, cheer up, brother Denal. That man said, cheer up. Brother sitting over there looking angry.
Brother must be suffering in this truth, man.
Right. Hey, that's how it be, though. You know, you got to understand that there are a lot of different things that contribute to people falling out. There's a lot of different things that contribute to why people speak bad about the Israelite community. And I'm just saying that as a term, like I said, to graft in all our brothers and sisters. At the end of the day, though, you got to understand, the sooner we're being real to these people, the sooner we're understanding that they won't be surprised by things that happen, right? Which is why we should encourage our brothers and sisters to understand the dark side of things early on. It's not like children, like our parents be Salakia, but our parents used to tell us lies and stuff like that. Like when you ask them, I used to ask my mama, how did you get pregnant? Like, how did you get pregnant? And she used to say, well, I kissed your dad. You know what I'm saying? And as I get older, I learned that, hey, look, you don't get pregnant by kissing. You get pregnant by doing the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us need to stop having this mentality of pacifying the truth. Be straight up with people. Be honest. Let them know what's up. Go ahead.
You gotta confess faults before your brethren, man. And like you said, what happens is in these videos and teachings and things of like that nature, we're comparing ourselves to brothers and sisters that's not awakened to who they are. We're comparing ourselves to people that's in the world, and we'll say stuff like, "The Israelite man will never do this. The Israelite woman is beautiful and she does this, this, and this." And we make this community seem so great. So when people come, they're overhyped and they don't understand. Oh, look, when you read the Bible and you see wicked men in the Bible, yeah, that's Israelites. When you see people go off in the Bible, That's Israelites. And guess what? When you come into the truth, you're gonna have those same instances happen. That's why Romans 15:4 said the things that are written aforetime are written for our learning. A lot of time when feast days come up, the Passover, when you tabernacles, when these feast days and holy days come up, they come with spirits too. When you read testimonies in the Old Testament about how we was in the wilderness in tabernacles, how in Passover there was, guess what? Those same spirits are on the earth even now, and they're gonna come and attack the same children of Israel. You're gonna have jealousy. You're gonna have strifes. You're gonna have envy. You're gonna have bearing false witness on one another. You're gonna have relationship. You're gonna have all that. All that's contained in the Bible is in this truth, the good and the bad.
Con. And look, that's important because, like we said, a lot of times people profess this to be like, oh, the Israelite man is that much better than the so-called average Jake. You know what I'm saying? We call Jake short for Jacob, right? The average so-called Jake, right? So they compare us to the world when it's convenient, and then they turn a blind eye to the rest of the folly. Right. Right.
Try to keep
Hey,
all
look.
that in-house.
Hey, we keep all that stuff in-house. You know what I'm saying? People don't understand that, man. Look, it gets messy, and it's worse in the truth when it gets messy. It's a lot worse in my personal opinion. It's a lot worse when it gets messy in the truth because, like we say, there are spirits in the truth, man. There's demons in this truth, right? There are spirits that cannot be controlled. People will do stuff that you never expect them to do, and you would think that they are in the truth. You know what I'm saying? You got to beware of that stuff. This is why 1 Peter 5:7 tells us to stay sober, stay vigilant, and we need to watch. For Satan goes around as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour.
Yeah. What also does Satan do? He makes himself appear as an angel of light.
Right.
A lot of us, a lot of women get swindled in this truth. A lot of men become followers in this truth because Satan or a deceiver. Yeah, we have deceivers. We have devils in this truth, right? Guess what? He makes himself appear as an angel of light. That's very hard to discern if it's actually an angel of light or not. If he make himself appear like that, right? That's why you got to have some mercy on these Pharisees that you read about in the Bible when Christ said, "Forgive them; they know not what they do." Because you got to understand, if Christ were to walk on the earth with you right now, are you going to accept him, or are you going to think he's a madman?
Right.
You reading in the oracles, the law, the prophets about how great this Savior is supposed to be, and you finally see him. This is the Pharisees thinking. You finally see him, you like, this is him, the carpenter's son. I've been studying in this law since birth, and you telling me this is him? So you gotta have some mercy, man. None of us are perfect, and our eyes are all open at a different time. Paul's eyes wasn't open. He did a lot of heinous things, but they were eventually open. We gotta have suffering and patience with our brothers and sisters in this truth.
Right. That's why, man, like we say, we got to talk about the truth concerning the truth. The truth is the truth ain't always peaches and cream, man. It's just that plain simple. It's not no super mystery breakdown. You know what I'm saying? I got this up right here. Galatians 5:19, right? And it talks about the works of the flesh. And it has listed all these things. And what's crazy, you hear about all this stuff going on in, you know what I'm saying, before you come into the knowledge of the truth, right? But since I've been in the knowledge of the truth, I've heard about all this stuff. It ain't no different. The works of the flesh are still in the truth. It's just that simple.
Man, you be in this truth. That first year, it might be cool. The second year, it might be cool. You be in this truth, you'll understand that these scriptures are talking to the people in the truth. It's not talking about the people in the world. It's talking about the people in the truth.
Right.
Don't be lascivious. Don't be unclean. Don't do fornication. Don't be in adultery. Don't be into witchcraft. Don't be into hatred. That's for people in the truth. We think when we come in this truth, we think that this is talking about the people in the world. So when it happens in the truth, all of us is like flabbergasted. What the heck? So and so did what? Who did what? Did you hear about that on Clubhouse? Did you see that on YouTube? They exposing so and so. This Bible talking about the people in the truth.
Hey, look, Clubhouse is a bunch of folly and madness too, man. Don't get that twisted because Hey, look, I try my hardest to not go on there as much as possible anymore. I really haven't been on there in like a few months. I used to get on there a lot. Then over time, man, I just started seeing the rooms. It's all a bunch of vanity. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing but a bunch of folly and madness on there too. So you got to be wary. I mean, there's some edifying rooms on there. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't use it for vain reasons. Some people use it to edify. A lot of people go on there, man, just to argue. A lot of people do, like the brother said, when you come into the truth, at some point, some people stop learning the truth to live it. They start learning the truth just so they can cut somebody up with it,
just so they can look the part.
just so they can look good. Like you said, present themselves as they're high and mighty. You know what I'm saying?
Can you go to Romans 3 and verse 2? Romans 3 and verse 2.
I'm gonna pull it up right here. Romans 3 and 2. All right. It says Romans 3 and 2. Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of God.
Hey, the people in the truth, these oracles were committed unto us. So when I say everything that is warning us of, it's not warning us of the people in the world. They're the ones of the flock. They're the other flock of sheep that can't see. This book is given to the ones that can see. This book is given to the ones that can interpret, that can understand what's going on, whose eyes, the scales have been opened, the scales have been ripped off of our eyes so we can see this stuff. When it says, hey, look, be aware of this spirit, and this spirit, the spirit of the flesh, it's telling the people in the truth, guess what? It's going to be among you. And be aware of it. It's talking to us. But if it was talking about the people in the world, the people that's not in the truth, right? Why would they even write it down? Because they're not looking at the Bible. They're not reading it. They don't understand it. So it might as well not even be written down if it's for them. It's for the people in the truth.
Right. You gotta understand, like the brother said earlier, he said something wise earlier. When you talk about wicked men, it wasn't just talking about people who weren't Israelites. It was talking about Israelites included. Wicked men, you know what I'm saying? Those were the men that were being called wicked. You know what I'm saying? Israelites. Who do you think the nation of people was that was going against the Most High God the most? Us, the Israelites. And guess what? We're supposed to be his chosen people.
Right. You know, the thing is too, if you have a dog, right? When we talking about these other nations, when we talking about wicked men, like the brother Yeshaya just said, it's talking about Israelites. When you have a dog and your dog uses the bathroom in the house, throws up in the house, or does something nasty in the house, you're not saying you wicked dog. It's a dog. They don't know better, right? Just like kids, they don't know better. But guess what? When you know better and you don't do better, that makes you wicked. So who's the wicked in the Bible? It's the Israelites. He didn't choose us. He didn't choose us because we were righteous, right? Over and over and over again, we are the same people. So when you come in this truth, you read these testimonies and these stories in the Bible, and you see how wicked these people are. Guess what? That's in the truth too. Concerning the truth, you got to be able to discern spirits. Still, you got to watch your back. Still, you got to forgive. Still. The truth is, hey, look, the truth ain't no joke. And even inside the truth, there's a remnant of people that's actually in the truth.
Right. That's why I said so-called, man, because when we identify the truth as a whole, I think everybody identifies the truth as saying, okay, well, what do you mean by the truth? Well, the truth about that God has a chosen people. And you know what I'm saying? The truth that God does not love everybody. The truth that, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? There's a select few of people that God truly chose. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's what we mean by the truth. But within that category of the truth, now you go into subcategories within the truth. There's only a select few of people, even in the truth, that are truly going to make it to the kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
When I read that prophecy in Zechariah, when it says 2/3 going to be cut off, usually in my head, I say, okay, 1/3 are people that don't know they're Israel. The other third are people in the truth. Because like we just said, this Bible is written to the people that can understand it, that eyes have been opened. So guess what? Even inside this truth, there's a remnant of us that are actually in the truth. That's why I say all Israel, not of Israel, right? It didn't say It's not talking about the people in the world. It's talking about people in the world too. They're not Israel because they're not living by the law, statutes, and commandments. But the people in this truth, this so-called truth, like the brother said, not everybody's in the truth for real. It's because they wear their fringes, they go to Shabbat every Saturday, or they celebrate every lunar Sabbath. And look, it take a lot to be in this truth, and you got to be wise, understanding, and you have to fulfill all those fruits of the spirit. And you have to actually be like the righteous man in the Bible, not the wicked man. There's more wicked. When you read the book of First Kings, Second Kings, First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, guess what? There's more wicked men than righteous.
Right.
And it's the same thing today.
You get Acts 17 and 30.
I don't need to do that. Hold on, select it. All right, this is the book of Acts of the Apostles, chapter 17. Let me go to verse number 30. And it reads, "And the times of this ignorance God winked at, but now commandeth all men everywhere to repent."
Right? Just to let me back on what the brothers are saying, man, this Bible is speaking to those that are aware, right? He's speaking about in the times of the past, God winked at, right? But now you know better, right? Now he commands everybody to repent. Why? Because you're in this truth and you know better, right? Just like in Hebrews 10 and 26, right? If you commit sin willingly, there remaineth no more sacrifice for your sins, right? Because you're supposed to act differently when you come into the knowledge of the truth. You know what I'm saying? When you're in the knowledge of the truth, that's when you really get responsibility. That's when you don't have an excuse anymore, right? Because you should be in your word every day, right? You say you're supposed to take this serious. You're supposed to be in your word every day. There's no more excuse. You have the oracles right in front of you, right? There's no reason why you should be transgressing the law. There's no reason why you should be, you can't find scriptures that can't comfort you in certain times. It's right here. It's right here. All you gotta do is put in the work.
I see a TikTok video of I think she was a Christian. I don't think she was in the truth, but she was saying, we gotta stop reinventing the wheel. Everybody wants to fast from social media or fast from your hobby, your favorite sports, your favorite TV show. She said, let's go back to the Bible. They fasted from food and water, right? And my thing is this: we got brothers and sisters in the truth that they don't fast food and water. They reinvent. We got brothers in the truth that reinvent the wheel, that lie to themselves in their own mind to do what they want to do in this truth. We got brothers and sisters, like the brother said, that don't read, right? Even in the world, brothers and sisters used to read like a verse of the day. A lot of brothers come into this truth and they'll have days where they don't read. They don't make time, right?
It's
Guilty.
really, it's really, it's,
Brothers that
there's no excuse,
brothers that forget to pray.
right?
You don't forget to pay your rent, but you forget to pray. You gotta look. We gotta take this stuff serious when we come into this truth. That's what separates the sheep from the goats. At the end of the day, we're taking it serious.
It's easy to fall into that complacency too, man. Like, that temptation coming to your head where you used to pray every day, right? Now you in this truth and you thinking, I don't really gotta pray right now, man. I don't feel like getting on my knees right now. Hey, because the Most High, He knows where I'm at, right? You don't know it, but you thinking like the Christians, right? You on that. The Most High knows my heart, man, right? I'm in tune with the Most High so much I ain't gotta pray. He knows what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
He know where home is.
Right. You know what I'm saying? We fall complacent to that just because we're in the truth, but not knowing that, hey, what did Baruch say? We got to go 10 times harder. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? There's no grace period in this because we know the knowledge now and we claim to be living sacrifices. No, we got to go 10 times harder, man. So sometimes where you feel like God's giving you grace, pretend like you ain't got no grace at all. You know what I'm saying? Those times where you think that the Most High knows what you're going through and you ain't got to say nothing, say something instead, right? Because, hey, look, man, it's work. You got to put your brick in, right? We talked about this at the gym the other day, man, how important it is for communication. Right? You see how important it is for communication even in your own household. how much more is communication with you and the Heavenly Father, right? We always talk about, oh, my wife thinks I'm supposed to be a mind reader. My husband thinks I'm supposed to be a mind reader, right? The Most High knows all things, but don't make him a mind reader too, right? You know what I'm saying? Just how we went over, we supposed to confess our faults with our brothers and our sisters. Confess your faults with the Most High. Let him know if you're going through something, right?
A
Stop.
lot of brothers, and sisters, they hit that precept. The spirit speaks for when you don't know things to utter or something like that. I forgot. I badly paraphrased that, but a lot of brothers hit that precept as an excuse, like, "Oh, I don't have to pray. I don't got to pray for real. The spirit know what I'm trying to say," and they'll get lazy with it, man. When we read our forefathers, David, Daniel, uh, we see all of their prayers throughout the Bible. I think Malachi had one. The prayer of Manasseh. Guess what? They was saying some elaborate prayers, man. They was taking their time with it.
Right. And we not telling brothers and sisters from this day forward to start going ahead and praying for 6 hours straight. You know what I'm saying? And just having cotton mouth, spitting and repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Hey, look, we saying, hey, look, pray. You know what I'm saying? At bare minimum, pray. You know what I'm saying? At bare minimum, read. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like the brother said, if we're gonna be kings, if you go to Deuteronomy 17 and 18, that's what a king did, was in that word every day. So if we're gonna be kings, right? If we're gonna be queens, right? If we're gonna be a nation of kings and priests, if we're gonna be a nation of Proverbs 31 type of women, if we're gonna be a nation of women of honor, you know what I'm saying? A women of the most high, you know what I'm saying? A daughter of Zion. We're gonna be them type of people, then we all need to do a better job at, like the brother said, taking this stuff seriously, right?
Yeah.
Something I've done to incorporate to make sure that I read every day is have like Bible studies with my wife. You know what I'm saying? Something to keep me in the word, because at the end of the day, it's like the brother said, it's spirits on here that tempt you. It's spirits of complacency, it's spirits of laziness, it's spirits that are literally trying to get you to do everything other than what you came to do, right? Our whole duty of man is to fear God and keep the commandments. That's our whole duty.
Uh,
And there's spirits that are trying to stop us from doing that, even inside the truth. And a lot of people fall out the truth because you fall victim to those spirits that are telling you to stop doing what you want to do.
Right. You
uh,
a grown man or a grown woman in this truth, man, right? Every single day, you should examine your life. You should examine whether or not you did something to build to help either build or sustain the relationship you have with the Most High. Um, in this truth, right? You shouldn't have a day that goes by where you didn't you didn't pray for real, unless you was just about to eat, right? You didn't read, you didn't have no godly conversation. The whole day went by and nothing about your day, right, was at all revolved around the Most High at all. You should feel utterly disgusted when you get to the end of the day and that takes place,
uh,
right? And so it's like another thing, right? We talk about reading. Reading is simple. You shouldn't have. I'm gonna be honest, right? And I speak as a man, right? But I mean what I say, right? I stand on it. You shouldn't have been in the truth for 3 years, 3 or 4 years, right? And you haven't read the whole Bible. I'm sorry, right? Three, four. You know how many days it is in a year? 365, right? And you telling me
According to Babylon,
3 years, 4 years go by, and you can't complete this.
66 books or
You
80 books,
you
80
can't
books.
you can't complete this, right? And I speak as a man, but when I say that's trash, that's trash. He was in the world and he was trying to get something done, right? Whether you
in the world,
graduate,
he was reading Harry
graduate,
Potter books, finished them.
right? You got 3 degrees in the world before you came in here, right? Study for everything, you know what I'm saying? All the wickedness y'all want to join, all these organizations, all you had to study and all that stuff, right? 3, 4 years go by and you haven't even completed the Bible which is supposed to be yours, right? Your heritage, the one that you lost, that you should be on fire to learn as much as you lost, as to make up as much as you lost. Let me go in this book. I want to make sure I know I've set my eyes on every single page in this Bible, right? I'm claiming it to be mine and my people's. I want to make sure I lay eyes on every. So now when somebody comes up to me talking to me about the Bible, I can defend it, right? There's nothing that's gonna be, oh, I ain't never seen that before, right? I'm not gonna be stumped, right?
Uh,
Not only that, the brothers talk about doctrines, right? You come in this truth and you just getting spoon fed. When you start reading the Bible for yourself, you start reading some of these classic scriptures that everybody goes to in context. And now when you read it, it makes a whole lot more sense. And now you can decipher, hey, the brother's not breaking it down the way it's supposed to be broken down, right? He's trying to deceive some people by saying it this way, but it shouldn't be saying like this because in context it reads like this, right? Now you can start learning for yourself. Now you can start being secure with yourself, right? And you don't feel like your whole relationship in this truth is dependent on somebody else's teaching, right? The brothers went over it, and you have brothers in the truth and sisters in the truth that will deny you trying to show them something new in the Bible, right? But let their elder or let one of their head teachers teach it to them, right? Oh, that does make sense. And then they come back to you. See, you just wasn't breaking it down right, bro. You wasn't breaking it down right. You wasn't conveying it in a proper manner,
no,
right?
you just didn't want to hear it from me.
You just didn't and because at the end of the day, I'm like, how did I not break it down right? I used nothing but scripture, right? It was in context, and you're the one that was rejecting knowledge, right? And now you're guilty of respecting of persons, right? All because you want to get spoon fed. We got to learn this stuff for yourselves. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be a leader, you want to be a head of a household, have children, all this stuff, they're gonna come with some questions. You gotta be able to answer them. And you would, I speak as a man again, but you would look less as a man if you run into your eldership all the time trying to get answers for your own children.
Or somebody you learn from, right?
Right.
You can't make decisions for yourself and for your household.
Hey, look, this the face I make when you break something down to somebody and they don't understand it from you, but then they go to a elder or something and say the exact same thing, and they be like, "See, you just wasn't breaking it down right." This the face I made right here.
Right, man. Because look, you got some, and to piggyback off what the brother said, you got some brothers that's in the truth and still haven't read the Torah, still haven't read the first 5 books, been in the truth for some time now, and they still haven't read all the law. That right there is telling you you're not out at the level of our forefathers. Because when they got that law back as a nation, we was celebrating, dancing. We was happy we had that law back. And you telling me you got it sitting in your house, you probably got 4 or 5 of them because you've been in the truth for some while, and you haven't finished the law yet? Where's your priorities, ma'am? Where's your priorities, sir?
Let a new season of your favorite show come out, right? You're not wasting no time. You binge watching the whole thing, right? This is supposed to be your favorite. This is supposed to be your favorite TV show. When it came back to you, right? When you came to the knowledge of everybody in this book, I'm related to, right? This is my heritage. You were supposed to binge this whole thing. You were supposed to binge this whole thing. That's how good it was supposed to be. But a lot of us are in this truth, and we're riding on people's coattails, right? We say we in this truth. We say we this Bible is our whole life. How can this Bible be your whole life if you neglect the time to even to read it? And look, it's not just on the men, women too. You say you in this truth, you supposed to be reading this book too. That's why when we have altercations, we have arguments and whatnot. People don't know how they're supposed to act. People don't know their roles and stuff like that because they don't read. If you just read, there would be no argument because you would know what you got to do.
Right.
I wouldn't have to tell you this, that, and the third. You wouldn't have to tell me this, that, and the third. You would know what you had to do. I would know what I would have to do because this Bible would be our standard, right? And if you were reading, right, it would eliminate a lot of problems. I wouldn't have to get on you all the time because you didn't know that it was in the Bible that you should be doing this. You would know this story about so and so and how she handled this. You would know this story about so and so and how he handled this situation,
Yeah.
right?
You wouldn't be put in a bunch of awkward. A lot of times in Israel, we put in a bunch of awkward situations to act as men and act as women because like we let it come down to that to where it has to be awkward now. When we could have read it and we wouldn't even have to cross that hurdle. We wouldn't even had to come to this awkward moment, right? But we make those decisions. But if I could make another point about coming into the truth too, um, I want to go to James 5:16, um, just to talk about prayer, man. Um, and
You want to go back to James 5?
James 5:16, just to talk about prayer, man, because a lot of us we come into this truth, and truth be told, I hate to sound like I hate to sound like this, but a lot of us, man, we lose spirituality coming into this truth because we're trying to be something that we have an image in our head that we're trying to be, right?
Emulations.
James chapter 5:16. Confess your faults one to another. That's what we've been saying this whole video that as a nation we don't do, right? And pray for one another. We don't do that either. We only pray for ourselves, man. When I go to sleep, and look, I try to pray for everybody that's around me, right? Before I pray for myself, that ye may be healed. You want healing, man? You want to have a bearable life? That's how you do it. The effectual, fervent prayer for a righteous man availeth much. I want to share this real quick. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. Hold up.
Gang.
Look. So this is what fervent means, right? This is what fervent means, right? Fervent means having or displaying a passionate intensity, right? Let me come into this truth, and I'm gonna speak as a man, right? I'm not gonna speak for these other two brothers, but me personally, I saw my spiritual life kind of take a dive because I was trying to say everything in Hebrew. I was trying to be like the men that I saw on the screen. I was trying to do things a new way, right? Which is not always bad doing something a new way, but to be passionate and to be intense, you have to understand and know what you're saying and know how to articulate. If you can learn Hebrew to where you can do that, all praise to the Most High. I understand some things are more powerful in Hebrew, but if you're just repeating things just to say it, he's not no genie in a box. It says the fervent prayer of a righteous man, man. Your prayer has to be on fire for him to hear it and to act on it. But if you just regurgitating and repeating these words that you learned in Hebrew, look, that's why a lot of us still struggling. You have to stop trying to be like everybody else, and you gotta actually be the truth and do the things that's called to you, man. Have an actual relationship with the Most High God. Actually try to be spiritual. Actually try to be genuine and passionate. A lot of us, man, we get in this truth. We just followers, man. Just follow, just followers. Just learn, regurgitate to where nobody's genuine with each other and you're not genuine with the Most High, man. And so I just want to bring that point out too, not just with prayer, but like what the brother said, reading everything, man. Everything should be fervent.
Con. Hey man, look, we got to do a better job at understanding that. In this truth, man, we got to be real with ourselves. We got to be real with ourselves because it's important to understand that the only way we gonna get to the kingdom is by being real with yourself. Like, be real with yourself, dog. If you and somebody that don't read as much, like, bruh, I will tell everybody. I tell these brothers all the time, man. One thing I struggle with is just staying consistent reading. You know what I'm saying? Because, like the brother said, there'll be days where you can't have days like where you don't read the Bible at all. Like, you can't have that. And I've had a lot of those days where I just didn't pick it up at all. You know what I'm saying? I might Christian church it up, look at my phone, look at the Bible app, read a couple verses, then I'm done for the day. And not as in my mind, like, bro, I don't feel like reading, so I'm gonna just read this. But it just like I'll probably pick it up and read it and then never come back to it. You can't have that mindset. You got to kind of put your priorities in place, which is why you got to find out what works for you in this truth. Everybody can't be everybody. Some brothers might read 20 chapters a day. Some brothers might read 30 chapters a day. Some brothers might read 15 chapters a day. You got to find out what works for you in this truth. And that's just the truth concerning the truth. Everybody ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? We got to start trying to be lived up to man's expectations, live up to the most high expectations. The most high didn't command you to read 150 chapters in the law a day. He didn't say that, but every day you should be somewhere studying the word. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say for me, man, the way that I try to keep myself in is something new that I implemented is just trying to have Bible studies with my wife, man. Trying to go over some things with her, trying to show her some things, right? And same thing. She might read something at work, come home, talk to me about it. And that's how we do it. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what helps me stay in the word. We got to talk about the truth concerning the truth. We all got to be real with ourselves. We all got to be real with this lifestyle. It ain't easy to live. It ain't easy. So get that out your head. It ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing that you see is just easy, right? We don't look at and we don't go around looking at brothers and sisters like we the most high and they just nothing. You know what I'm saying? I want to close with this. This is the book of Titus. I want to go to Titus, not Philemon, but Titus 3:3, man. 3. This is the book of Titus, chapter 3:3, right? Matter of fact, let me start at Titus 3:1. And it says, put them in mind to be subject to principalities and powers, to obey magistrates, to be ready to every good work, to speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, shewing all meekness unto all men, right? Verse 3. For we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving divers lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful and hating one another, right? So we know because we've been there before, which is why you got to do videos like talking about, okay, what's going on in the nation, right? Well, what's going on in the nation is that we got a lot of people who are puffed up, right? They eating too much honey, they drinking too much milk, or they chewing too much meat, man. They trying to devour too much bread. Balance, right? A false balance is an abomination unto the most high. There's temptations that come into this truth, right? Spirits don't leave you alone just because you say I'm an Israelite. Spirits actually jump on you 20 times harder because you say that you're an Israelite. Now we gonna really find out if you is one for real or not. I can attest to that, man. We just had to have a moment of realism from time to time and understand that in this truth, things are not sweet, man. Women out of order, men being emotional, men being angry, men abusing women, women being whores in the truth, women being messy gossipers, you know what I'm saying? Women not obeying their husbands like they should. We got a lot of stuff that we got to work on as a nation of people. And the only way for us to do that is understand that the truth concerning the truth is we got to look in the mirror and self-examine each and every day. But I yield if brothers got anything else.
Yeah, man. I hope. I know for a fact this was edifying, man, and that's what we try to key ourselves on, is to edify the church with everything that we do. So if we don't post a video, it's because we didn't have nothing edifying, man. So we get on here to be edifying, man, not just to be talking. But
Right.
think about it Thursday, man. I think we gave y'all something to think about. So,
Something to think about, man. Hey, with that, man, we gonna say shalom. The most high willing, hey, if we like the brother said, if we got something edifying for tomorrow, we'll be back on here tomorrow for a factual Friday. Hopefully we can be on here for a Sabbath lesson. But hey, look, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the most high God. And remember, the truth concerning the truth, think about that each and every day when you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror, right? Or if you don't look at yourself in the mirror, have a moment of thought throughout the day about what is it in this life that I'm getting or I'm doing, or think about it more than you don't, right? But I hold my peace, man. Shalom.
shalom.